leading into that, just, yes, other things we want to talk about.
Yeah, I just wanted to point, it's very interesting to hear the story about Disneyland and accessibility, and it kind of reminds us how, like technology definitely helps to facilitate accessibility, but it's also the people, people who are willing to, explain the guide who are, willing to explain to them about the ride and how it goes, and you being there, verbalizing, information so that people with disabilities can access. So I think it's both components, we always the technology issue is very important, but also the people. Everybody being mindful of others and being willing to verbalize and help others if others need help. So that was both very important.
It's very important.
It was there at Disney, so I was very happy to hear it.
And it was really present everywhere.
Yeah.
It's a lot of my experiences, everything from being at the state school or the School for the Blind, all the way to Disneyland. The different features of accessibility was just so prevalent here in Japan in a way that was very natural and very mindful across different settings. And that was very important. And it made me reflect on our work that we're doing together in terms of the ISS project and the grant work that we're doing cross-collaboratory across our universities, just to think about accessibility in a way that we can verbalize that to people who don't always understand that. And being mindful of that in design.
So I have a question for you.
Sure.
Yeah, so as a specialist in accessibility, what do you think, what's a global challenge that you see, going to Japan, coming from the States, and what's a global issue and how can we combat, that issue?
It's a great question. One of the big global issues, and as much as I saw the accessibility here in Japan, in the United States, we have accessibility as well, but in a different way. One of the challenges that I think we face oftentimes in design is that there's not enough collaboration across professionals. So in the United States, we have the laws of ADA, we have the laws of accessibility, but oftentimes the accommodations that are put in place may be second nature or second hand and not put into the initial design. So I think one of the challenges we face is that in creating accessible societies, we want to forward think accessibility instead of thinking of it as a second resort. A lot of times, and our students who are from America, a lot of times you'll see like crosswalk buttons in America. Here in Japan, they were all very uniform, all on the poles in the similar area. In the United States, they may put in a new intersection, and then as a second thought, they'll say, oh, well, now we need access to a button to change the crosswalk. And they may put a pole on the existing pole, and it stretches out because it might be accessible to someone who's in a wheelchair, but they don't consider that protruding pole can be a barrier to someone who's blind. So being mindful of all disabilities and being mindful of design in a way that it can be accessed by everyone and not a barrier to others. It's definitely an issue, but definitely one I think we can.
Yeah, and that kind of reminds me like the inclusive smart society, this project, we have already a lot of collaboration between different departments. Like we're from special education, and we have colleagues from engineering, arts and design, and different parts. And I think that itself is something that's very important. And we also have students from different departments, all being interested about how does smart society look like, and then I love that already. So I hope that continues, and it could be one of the ways how we could combat the global challenge.
I agree. And I think another challenge often happens when we have other professionals or colleagues who might look at you and I and say, well, I don't do visual impairment, and I don't do what you do. But in reality, we do. We talk about finance majors that we have here in the room, APE majors we have here. Collectively, we all can blend these these inclusive areas
Mhm.
across different designs.
Mhm.
It doesn't have to be a you do this or I do that.
Yeah.
It should be a we do this together.
Yeah.
And then one of the things that we talked about a little earlier, I know, is just that voice of the consumer.
Yeah.
To hear people who use these areas and travel these areas every day to actually have a voice
Mhm.
in the design that goes alongside of them is just so important. And I think sometimes that gets overlooked,
Mhm.
not purposefully, not in a rude way, but you just don't always think about the fact that, oh, if we ask the consumer what works,
Mhm.
then we can design in a way
Yeah.
that it works for everyone.
And for this slide, we mentioned about individuals with visual impairment and blindness, but I mean, we are all consumers. So I think having a voice, like as an individual, and having a conversation of what is accessible for you and me and everyone. I think that dialogue is very important, and also by having that dialogue, sometimes I have people come up to me and, oh, you're the expert for visual impairment, I'm not. It's not that, we're all professionals of our needs, so it's the dialogue that is very important, and also being mindful of others and just having that conversation on and on. That's important.
And the fact that we're having these conversations is just so meaningful and purposeful in that design. So I hope that our connections are going to bridge that in a way that it's meaningful for everyone.
Yeah.
Yes.
So thank you very much.
Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
thank
It was
you.
such a pleasure to be here today. Thank you from both of us.